the wonderful entity that is Google. You know that when they were incorporated, their motto was, I don't know if it still is, it would be hilarious if it still is, their motto was, "Don't be evil." Well, they sure messed that one up. Hello everybody, I'm Mango Thunderslice, and today we're talking about the Eye of Sauron. We're talking about Google. Alright, easy mistake. Top 3 bombshells of the 950-page Google leak. This is what we're going to be talking about. A Google whistleblower, Zach Vorhies, recently released 950 pages of Google documents. He was one of the top Google engineers, so we're going to be looking into this here. Tiffany FitzHenry has done a fantastic job of revealing all of this information. And yeah, we're going to take a look at what's been revealed to the latest document dump from Google. Alright, here we go. So last week, Google insider turns whistleblower Zach Vorhies handed over 950 pages of documents and a laptop to the Department of Justice. The documents provide proof that Google has been manipulating the algorithms, which they stated before Congress they were not doing, and the evidence of how it's all being done. For this, Google has come after him in a big way, sending FBI, SWAT, and police to his house, issuing a letter to him stating they know what he's done, and other intimidation tactics. At the most dangerous point, just before he'd gone public, he issued a dead man's switch. And here's the tweet from Zach Vorhies with a pretty epic picture to convey his, at least his perception of the battle being faced, and I would concur that that's a pretty accurate graphic representation of the battle we're facing. When I asked him his main motivation in taking on this behemoth, he said, quote, "It's time to rip the mask off this clown world." We first spoke by phone shortly after Project Veritas published the documents, which are grouped into 8 subject folders: censorship, election tampering, fake news, hiring practices, leadership training, machine learning fairness, partisanship, and psychological research. Voorhees compared Google to a panopticon, a system of control and concept of design which allows all prisoners of an institution to be observed by a single guard or all-seeing eye, without the inmates being able to tell whether they are being watched. Welcome to the Google panopticon. Or, in our case, without the inmates even knowing they are prisoners. There's another photo. There is now a Chromebook assigned to every student in every classroom in America. I didn't actually know that. I'm going to have to verify that. I also did a video with Zach below regarding the contents of the leaks, what he thinks are some of the most damning revelations, and the ordeal he has endured to bring this insider information into the public domain. I highly recommend you take the time to watch this eye-opening 1-hour talk and share it with as many people as you can. Reading through the 950 pages, one can clearly see that Google created algorithms to promote, then hide its political and social biases in order to manipulate the perceptions of the vast majority of internet users, manipulate elections, and in some cases manipulate reality itself. Friends, this is truly sobering stuff. Pivotal, timeline-shifting, reality-altering, earth-shattering stuff. This, if anything, deserves our focused attention and our energized activism. The future of humanity quite literally depends on it. The following are some highlights from the leak. Number 1, deleting covfefe. One of the most stunning revelations is reading how Google raced to remove the Arabic word covfefe from virtual existence in the hours and days following Donald Trump's infamous tweet. On May 31st, 2017, after returning from Saudi Arabia, Trump tweeted this: "Despite the constant negative press, covfefe." Right? Everybody remembers this one. Who's on the internet? Pretty great moment. 6 hours later, he tweeted this: "Who can figure out the true meaning of covfefe? Enjoy." Leaked Google documents titled "Covfefe Translate Easter Egg" revealed that after Trump's first tweet, Google raced to scrub the Arabic word covfefe and its meaning, quote, "I will stand up." Thus, the tweet meant, despite the constant negative press, "I will stand up." According to the below document, they very much knew that. They knew the Arabic meaning of covfefe. Despite that, they set out to replace it with a shrug emoji. Right? So, little Silicon Valley snark, just replacing an actual Arabic translation into a emoji because they wanted to stick it to Trump. Very nice, Google. Golf clap. Just to be crystal clear, Google has no problem whatsoever taking it upon themselves to alter a centuries-old language. Pretty sure Arabic is older than a few centuries. Deleting an entire word and its meaning from virtual existence in order to carry out a completely unstated, hidden political agenda. I do not care about your politics. Trust me, I don't. I just want you to sit with that for a second. Think of the implications. Further documents also reveal that the team raced to bad the misspellings as well. See below document. in essence ensuring that anyone searching Google to try and figure out what covfefe meant would never find the truth, no matter what, no matter how they searched. For further proof, we're already living in a totally distorted misinformation carnival. Recall that Hillary Clinton chimed in the next day, quipping that covfefe was a hidden message to the Russians. The tilt-a-whirl from hell that our mainstream news sources really begins to reveal itself. It's worth noting in the days and weeks that followed, prompted by the covfefe debacle, pundits and politicians across every media platform and cable network began talking furiously about the 25th Amendment, removing a mentally unfit president from office. Through these new revelations, we are seeing behind that curtain, and it's hard not to see a deep web of collusion that stretches from Silicon Valley to New York to D.C., that's doing everything it can to control your mind, the entire American political process, and social climate. Facts. By removing the word covfefe, Google, which bills itself as an information company, willfully defrauded the American public, weaponized language information meant to be basic and available to all humans in order to frame a sitting president, mass manipulate thought, political opinions, and reality itself through the overreaching power of their corporation. Can we also say for certain that it was ideologically driven? Yes, we can. How, you ask? Well, the team name itself, Derrida Team, foolishly gives away their intentions. Derrida, for those who don't know, is a postmodern philosopher who wrote at length about how to carry out the destruction of Western civilization. These are their heroes. Number 2, YouTube query blacklist. Now, this one's very interesting. That one was interesting too, just as a starter, but this one gets pretty dark. Another bombshell so far uncovered in the trove of documents are 42 pages of YouTube query blacklists where the results for certain phrases and entire subjects are being actively blacklisted by Google. In their own words on the document, the queries in this file will force the controversial twiddler to be triggered. I don't actually know what that means. According to Vorhies, this mechanism pushes down certain content and elevates what Google often refers to as the authoritative results, or the Google predetermined correct information on a given subject. Google is officially Snopes on steroids. Some of the things that appear in these blacklists: pro-life searches, pro-life stances on the Irish 8th Amendment vote, any and all searches about the many mass casualty events that have gone on over the last couple of years, such as Las Vegas and Parkland, along with queries about the deaths of Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade, and the GOP train crash of all things are also blacklisted. Here are screenshots of these lists. And I might make a follow-up video going into these documents and actually looking through these. In the interest of trying not to get this video just completely shadow banned, I'll just let you read them. But there's some very interesting things on this list that, things that were already shady, but, it's just very strange that you can't actually search about Anthony Bourdain or Tony Bourdain or Kate Spade. Like, even their names are on the blacklist. Like, why? It's a little strange. And of course, a lot of those names attached to other words like Pizzagate and whatnot, of course. If you want to explore the idea that abortion is wrong, or you have any questions about Kate Spade's suicide, Google is making sure the results you receive on these searches are only Google authoritative results. Welcome to 1984. Yes, it sucks here. Number 3, diverse humans equals coffee beans. This one's not that huge, but it's still funny. Here in an internal discussion forum called Coffee Beans Discussion, Google employees debate diversity hiring practices. Yes, Google is discussing diverse people like coffee beans. You heard that correctly. The discussion thread stems from an original source memo where Google employees compare diversity hiring of human beings to coffee beans. And here's a snapshot of that. It's a pretty strange and convoluted analogy to the point where it's like, even if I actually agreed with these people, I'd be like, am I being propagandized right now? This is a pretty strange and out there metaphor. So you can read that. Is it just me, or does comparing people to different colors and grades of coffee beans and thus different values feel, I don't know, totally racist? Not only is talking about actual human beings as you talk about coffee beans just bizarre, but openly reducing people to their skin color, ethnicity, gender, etc. is sick, regressive, cruel, divisive, and extremely low consciousness, the polar opposite of Dr. Martin Luther King's dream. Quote, I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Google's coffee beans is quite literally MLK's nightmare. Another Google employee goes on to note, it's about recognizing that diversity hiring efforts don't have to mean lowering the bar. We might design different hiring or evaluating processes for different groups of people with the intent that people's demographic traits would affect their chances of being hired. Serious question. Is that even legal? Is that not basic discrimination? The Google employee goes on to admit that the coffee beans analogy, as obtuse as it already is, disguises the even more base intent of the conversation and advises smartly that it should not be spread externally. Whoops, too late. In speaking with Google whistleblower Zach Vorhies, I asked what his motivation was in doing something so perilous. He explained to me that children were his motivation. Quote, I started to think what kind of world all of this was going to create. When asked what caused his own awakening to the extent where he was willing to risk his life to get this information to the world, he recalls observing the manipulations in the information around about what happened in Charlottesville, as well as learning about Uranium-1 and watching people do mental gymnastics to fool themselves on the subject. When I started seeing the media and Google defining what is real, the mechanism of electronic propaganda, I just kept researching and eventually it blew my whole world apart. Quote, I realized that everything the media is talking about is not for information purposes, it's to shape my mind and all of my thoughts about the world. All of these organizations are working together to inflict mental torture on the American citizens. These people are trying to play with the fabric of reality so that the masses don't trust their own mind, so that they only trust the state. But I realize there's still time. We have to fight. With optimism, Zach notes, the people in nations across the world have been leveraging the system built to enslave them in order to take back their countries. He also speaks of much-needed data protection laws and an Internet Bill of Rights and believes ultimately that Google is going to collapse. They don't have a path to victory. They have declining power. People are detoxing off of Google. Google is vulnerable. As soon as regulations go on the movement of data, they're done. And that's the end of Tiffany's article. She's one of the most high-value people on the internet as far as I'm concerned in terms of the quality of her work and just the vibration and energy that she's got. So I'm a Patreon donor, a patron, I guess. I highly encourage you guys to take a look at Tiffany and follow her on Twitter. Pretty much everything that she puts out is just absolutely gold. So this was a great synopsis of some of the things that are coming out of the Google documents. I mean, this alone, this one page and the documents that are behind it and easily verifiable with the help of, the work of Zach Vorhies. All these statements that Google made to Congress, sworn statements under oath, now can be proven to be perjury. And that this company is now basically in contempt of Congress. And that's not a bad spot to be. That is a bad spot to be in, even for some company as powerful as Google. And like many of the other elites, they think that they've been, so heavily, guarded. They think that they're immune, right? Just like Jeffrey Epstein, he thought he was immune, but he wasn't immune because the tide is changing. And when the tide goes out, you see who was standing naked, as what Warren Buffett likes to say. And just a final little thing to leave you guys on with the wonderful entity that is Google. You know that when they were incorporated, their motto was, I don't know if it still is. It would be hilarious if it still is. Their motto was, don't be evil. Well, they sure messed that one up. They're probably one of the most evil companies in the world today. But I'll leave you with something real quick. So, as you guys I'm sure know, that the browser that Google has is named Chrome. And there's its logo, fairly innocuous in and of itself. What's interesting is that the GPU, the graphics processing unit that Google is using, is called Adreno. That's interesting. Adreno Chrome. When you combine the internet browser and the graphics processing in their devices, manipulating all those little sounds and colors to entertain you and distract you from all the actual realities and problems of the world, right? Adrenochrome is the combined technology platform that Google is using. And of course, Adreno is not exactly proprietary of Google. It's made by Qualcomm. But, if you think that the telecom industry is just, and its evil is limited to Google, well, you've got some fun revelations ahead of you, my friend. Because basically California is infested with all kinds of Satanists and communists and just degenerate evil people of all kinds. I was just joking over the weekend while camping that I think LA and San Francisco are pretty much the new Sodom and Gomorrah. And if the San Andreas doesn't rip them open and cast them into the sea, then something's probably going to happen. Just a joke, but not really, because it's getting pretty bad. It's only when people start noticing the human feces in the streets, right, does the average person take notice. But this has been a pestilence that has been growing for some time now. So that's my video today. I encourage you to get away from Google, start using DuckDuckGo. Use either the Brave browser or Opera. I use the Opera browser. It's just a built-in VPN, so basically, you know, it just automatically cloaks your IP address in your browsing history. DuckDuckGo, it is literally a night and day searching experience versus using Google. They are hiding so much information at this point, it'll blow your mind when you just you make a quick switch and start using DuckDuckGo. It's virtually the same interface, but check it out. Get away from Google. These people are trying to control your mind, and as long as you let them, they will. Just ask anybody on the left who thinks that Trump supports white nationalism and white supremacy because of the events of Charlottesville. Right, it is complete nonsense. They have absolutely brainwashed people by changing their perception of reality, thinking that Trump endorsed, racist ideology in the wake of Charlottesville is the literally polar opposite of what happened. But people believe it as if it's real, and that's because of the information manipulation via the algorithms at Google. And it's just important to remember the nature of the battle that we are facing. So that's my video today. Hope you all have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon again. Cheers.